Human beings are built on skill sets. You watching this right now have a skill set, and that skill set determines how valuable you are. So it would make sense that it's in your best interest to learn the most valuable skills that you possibly can in order to inevitably make more money, right? And when you take one skill and you combine it with another skill, you create what's known as a skill stack, a valuable set of skills that make up a skill set. And so in this video, I'm going to run you through the skill stack that I've developed over the past 5 years of being an entrepreneur that I've robbed and stolen from successful and rich people that have come before me. This allowed me to gross way over $1 million in profit at just 21 years old, with the goal to teach you how you can build your own skill stack following the same principles. And so if you give me the next 10-15 minutes of your time, I guarantee you'll walk away with a clear understanding of how you can build your own skill stack that's going to make you a whole lot of money. Now, the first thing you need to understand is what a skill stack actually is. Now, the best way I can illustrate it is by explaining how for every single skill, it has value. And the value of the skill is determined by a few different factors. Primarily, it's determined by how much it's worth to somebody else, as in what can they get out of it. And the easiest way to understand it is like this. Let's say that you have the skill of video editing, for example. Now, we can attribute a certain amount of value points to that skill of video editing. Let's say it's worth 4 value points for whatever reason. And that's great. The skill of video editing on its own can help somebody produce a result. It can help somebody create something they didn't previously have. So it's worth something to people. But what if you were also to add on the skill, for example, of animation? And that's worth, let's say, for example, 3 value points. Well, now you no longer have a single skill. You actually have a skill stack that's worth a total of 7 value points. And as I'm sure you can understand, 7 is higher than 4 and 3 alone, which means that you are now worth more to other people since you've now developed a skill stack. And the same thing can happen with any skill with any industry. It's not just creative skills. Let's say, for example, that you have the skill of building chatbots and that skill is worth a total of 6 value points. Alone, that's great. You have a skill that you can sell to somebody, you can make a decent amount of money from it. But if you want to make more money, you want to add on something like website optimization, because that skill alone can be worth something like 8 value points. And that makes your overall service come to a total of 14 value points. Now, in reality, value points don't actually mean anything. Now, it doesn't exist. But what I'm trying to say is that for every skill you develop, it is valuable to somebody else. And if you want to become more and more valuable and make more and more money, you need to stack relevant skills on top of that skill that you already have to develop a skill stack and then develop a skill set. That is the basic principle of value stacking. And it's not just me who understands it. I mean, all the best entrepreneurs to ever exist before us and will come after us will understand and do understand skill stacking. And so I'm going to teach you the skill stack that I've been developing over the past 5 years of being an entrepreneur that has got me to the point of where I'm at now, following this same principle. Now, the first skill that we're going to start with in this case is actually going to be our core skill. And this is your foundational skill. This is what your business is actually built on. This is the vehicle that you actually sell to somebody else. So this can be video editing, chatbot building, it can be videography, it can be graphic design, it can be CRM management. It doesn't matter what your core skill is, but you most definitely have to have one in order to stack other skills on top of it. This is going to be kind of like the hub in which you start to build everything else around, which ultimately will create your service and your business. And again, I really mean it when I say it doesn't actually matter what this core skill is. You just have to make sure that it's high income, you're good at it, and you can actually sell it. And if it ticks those 3 boxes, then you're absolutely fine. In my case, for example, when I started off, my core skill was actually social media management and social media growth. That was my entire thing. I built a business initially around social media and continue to develop and stack relevant skills around that skill set that got me to the point of where I'm at now. I mean, this that you're watching me on, I've been doing social media for 5 years. This was the first thing I started before I even started a business. And so I treated this as my core foundational skill. And that is the foundation of your skill stack. It's like building a house on a sandy foundation. You wouldn't do that because you know that everything you build on top of it is going to eventually crumble. Same thing goes with your skill stack. You want to make sure that the foundational skill is good. High income, it's bespoke to you, and it produces a result. And in fact, if you're not sure what high income skill to choose, I'm going to leave something in the caption below that you can go and take a look at. That's going to give you like a list of over 300 different high income skills that you can choose from, because that shouldn't be the point in which you get stuck. If anything, that should be the easiest point, where you pick a skill, email marketing, copywriting, sales, anything, and then you start to build on top of it. And the second skill within your skill stack is going to be something on the lines of a marketing skill. And the reason being is because if you don't have a marketing skill, then nobody's going to hear about your core service. And when I say marketing, this can be anything. It's just having the ability to actually get your service and your skill set and your value out there into the world. So this can be content, it can be running ads, it can be the fact that you're really good at writing blogs, it can be the fact that you're amazing at putting up billboards down the street. It doesn't really matter what avenue of marketing you go down, but you want to make sure that you develop something along the lines of a marketing skill set. Now, I personally chose content. I mean, my core skill was social media management and growth, but the way in which I was able to get my core skill out there was through content. And like I said, I've been making content for the past 5 years and I've never stopped, but it's only more recent now which I've started to open up more avenues. I've started to open up SEO, I've started to open up ads, I've started to open up things like outreach, and that allows me to again develop my skill stack further. But it doesn't matter again what your marketing skill is, it just needs to exist, because you need to get your service out there. And I can't stress enough enough the fact that understanding how to properly market, how to speak to strangers, and how to get them interested in your thing is one of those core skills that once you learn it, it's going to stay with you forever. Now, the next skill on my skill stack, and the one that I recommend that you develop, is actually the skill sales. Because once you use your marketing skill set to tell people about your actual service, you're then going to need to inevitably sell people on your actual service. And that is where sales comes into play. But I don't even just see sales as the actual act of selling someone on something. I also see it as the fact of just understanding people, because sales, in my head anyway, is like 95% psychology. It's 95% understanding what people want, how to communicate with them in a way in which you end up getting the result that you want. It's understanding how people think, it's understanding how to objection handle, and overall just understanding the actual flow of selling. And to be honest, this isn't a super complex process to go through. A lot of people overcomplicate the art of sales because some people do become incredibly good sales experts. The idea with this skill stacking overall is that you don't need to be an expert in every single skill. You most definitely should be an expert in your core skill, but everything else on top of it, it's just a value add. It makes you as a person more valuable, and you're putting more tools in your tool belt that you can use to achieve the result that you want. So as I said, sales is the ability to communicate to people your core skill and the true value of your core skill in a way where it makes it an absolute no-brainer for them to want to buy it. And the fourth skill within our skill stack is actually what's called a USP. Now, a USP is a unique selling point, and the idea is that it's something that you can add onto your core skill that makes your core skill more valuable. Because at the moment, marketing, sales doesn't actually make your core skill more valuable. It just makes more people hear about your core skill, and it makes it easier for people to buy your core skill. If you want to make it more valuable in this case, then you need what's known as a USP, which is a unique selling point, something that allows you to stand out. And the reason this is so important is because if you are a video editor and I were to line you up amongst a bunch of other video editors, and let's say you had a very similar skill set, like skill level, and I were to say, why should I choose you as a video editor as per to all the other people that are standing next to you, you would probably have no idea what to say. You would be like, oh, I don't know, I do it quickly, I edit well, I got a good idea and taste for like video editing. That's not strong enough. You need a unique selling point that makes it a no-brainer for somebody to go, I want to work with you and nobody else because you stand out amongst everybody else. And the way that this works is typically I would add something onto my service. So a USP is really just a value add something onto my service that makes my overall service more valuable and makes it an absolute no-brainer for somebody to choose me. And the best way to do it is actually just to make it a natural next step. Like, look at your service, your core skill, and ask yourself the question, what would be a natural value add to my already existing service? So if you are a video editor, for example, a natural USP value stack that you could add on top is content strategy. Because if you're editing videos for somebody, the next best thing you can do is actually help them grow with the video that you've edited, help them post it in the right way, help them achieve the result that they want to achieve, right? So the USP may be that you're not just a video editor, but you can actually help them distribute the content that you've helped them create and grow as a result. And that way, if you're standing amongst a bunch of other video editors and you say, hey, I can actually help with content strategy, I'm picking you, and everyone else is picking you as well every day of the week because you add something else to the table. Or if your skill set is being an accountant, maybe you could also develop the skill set of understanding tax loophole strategies, for example, right? It's a natural next step, a natural value add that someone would look at you as an accountant and go, I want to work with this guy because I'm going to get more out of him than anybody else. Or if you build automations as a core service, maybe you could add AI. In fact, AI is one of those USPs that is always going to be valuable because adding AI to your service makes you stand out, it makes you modern, it makes you fast and dynamic. Like if you're a graphic designer, for example, and you were AI powered, I would look at you and go, that person's special. That person is more unique than any other graphic designer that I've lined up in front of me. So AI is always a really good way to add a USP to your service without thinking about it too much and stressing out about it. But having a USP is a non-negotiable. So, and in my case, my core skill, like I mentioned, was social media growth. Now, over time, I realized that my core skill wasn't powerful enough. Sure, I could market it, I could sell it, but it wasn't punchy enough. It didn't make people drop everything they were doing and going, I need that service. And so my USP ended up being influencer marketing. So I had the idea and the strategy and the skill of social media growth, and I added influencer marketing to that social media growth, which allowed people to see me as someone who massively stood out. But overall, it kind of changed my service altogether, which a lot of the time your USP can do. Because if you're a video editor, but you also do content strategy, you're not really just a video editor anymore, are you? Like, you are a creative director of some sorts. So a lot of the time, your USP will actually change your service overall. And the next skill stack that we're going to be looking at is actually the skill of understanding leverage. Now, leverage is the idea of using something else to your advantage. It's figuring out a way to put in one and get three out. And to be honest, this isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. But leverage comes in many different forms. Leverage comes in the forms of softwares, tools, systems. It also comes in the form of people, which can then be expanded to building teams and stuff like this. So leverage is basically the idea of where you can just start to detach yourself from the money that you make and the time that you put in. It basically allows you to become a business owner. But leverage, as per to, like, I don't know, doing some research and saying, how do I implement leverage? It's more of an understanding that you develop, where you start to look at things through a different lens. Instead of thinking, oh, I need to get this video out, or I need to create this thing, how can I do it? It's more of a case of, how can I use leverage to help me do it more efficiently and effectively so that I don't spend all my time doing this, or I don't get a one-to-one in for out. You want to, like I said, put in one and then get three out. That is the whole idea of leverage. Now, the way that I use leverage alongside tools and systems was actually building a team. Building a team was a massive form of leverage for me because again, it allowed me to produce a better result than I was producing before, but I was using other people to do it. And again, this is a step of you going from a service provider to a business owner, which again is an incredibly important transformation to make. And then the final step of the skill stack that we're going to be talking about, probably one of the skills that impact me the most in terms of the revenue that I generated and how it transformed not just my business, but my life, is actually the skill of teaching. Because the way that I see it is that when you have a core skill like you do down here, you can sell it in a matter of two ways, okay? You can either sell it as a service. So I don't know, if I'm a video editor, I don't know why I keep defaulting back to that, but if I'm a video editor, I can sell it to somebody. There you go, I'm going to make you a good video. However, adding the element of teaching to it allows you to teach it to other people. When you understand how to teach, and understanding how to teach is being able to break complex things down into simple topics, simple to understand and digest ways of like communicating. That is a massive value stack that you get from your service. Because like I said, have a service, you can either sell it or you can teach it, which in this case is me teaching other people how to edit videos. And this basically allows you to very, very quickly like double the money that you're making. Reason being is because if I'm already selling the skill as a service, and I can just start teaching it, and there's not that much extra stress on my shoulders, it's just a case of I am making more money. And of course, you then have to start to use leverage and start to outsource and start to grow, but you're basically taking one skill and you have multiplied the amount of money that you can make from that skill, which is incredibly powerful. And not only that, but if I was going to choose a video editor to edit my videos, I would probably prefer the video editor who I know teaches other people how to edit videos as well, as per to the video editor that just edits videos, because it tells me that they are incredibly competent at the service, so competent in the fact that they are teaching other people. It's like, would you rather work with someone or would you rather work with the person who taught that someone how to do what they do? You would rather work with the person because they are to the teacher. It's like information comes down from them, which basically overall just positions you as a massive authority. And that, ladies and gents, is basically it. My $1 million skill stack, the actual skill stack that made me over $1 million by the time I turned 21. If you want to learn exactly how I do what I do and what I do, check the link at the top of the description, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.